Hello and welcome to session 9 of 9 for Free from the Yoke. I'm not going to give the elevator pitch on this because if you're watching the 9th session of something, you've dug your own grave at that point. But I just remind you, if you like playing online games and you want to play online games, come and check out the Gauntlet at gauntlet-rpg.com. You don't have to be a member. We've got an online calendar. People sign up for the wait lists if the games are full, and we often get people popping up onto those. So you can go and check that out. I really encourage you to do that if you're digging this stuff. We are going to be starting. We had a little bit of an extended break between the last session and this one. So I'm going to be kind of going over where we're at. And we're going to be kind of rolling in. We may take it a little slowly here at the start to kind of get ourselves positioned, but this is the last session. So I definitely want to make sure that if you have scenes you want to call, things you want to do, we want to get to those today. Want to push on through. I spent the last couple weeks really digging into the Free from the Yoke rules, so I have a better sense. There's some things that I'll mention in our stars and wishes at the end that I missed that I won't mention now, but there was a few things. Last time we did the turning of the age, which moved our calendar forward a decade. And the project had been completed of the bringing in of Sneadosh within the empire itself. In that 10 years, there have been some changes. We saw a new character representing our Forgers of Marble City, as our previous character perhaps got co-opted by the Fae. The other three returned with some taking some new roles within their respective families, and we had some changes on that. We had some cross sort of talk at the end. The big thing was the new Arbiter's project is that the Arbiter is establishing these electors. We had those people who had been part of the revolution before, who had kind of been overseeing areas, establishing these electors to choose who will succeed the Arbiter. Essentially, stated goal is to facilitate a stable handover of power. There's some suspicions about that. There's some people who disagree with that. There's some people who've been offered good deals within that forthcoming thing. At least 2 of our PCs have been offered positions as electors. I believe that those things are certainly on the table. But last time, the sort of final scenes that we had is we had Dadushka arriving and talking treason to Tormod. And Tormod very carefully skirted the thing of treason and didn't mention that his own patron wants this project kiboshed. That was all off the table. And we also saw Katharina meeting with Dadushka, and Dadushka pushing Katharina towards treason, and with the idea of stopping the Arbiter's project with an eye to eventually, finding a way to have her succeed, and not using the elector to do that, but clearly, not even considering that, just going straight for the throat. But we also saw Anika, who is our new representative from the Forgers of Marble City, and she has been exploring the spirits and the Fae and so on, and she's a friend and student to Dadushka, and we saw her meeting with Dadushka to talk about her discoveries and where the country needed to go and how people needed to turn and look to things. And then at the very end, the very last thing we had is Tormod's good friend, that little god of death, whispered in Tormod's ear and offered to tell him the location of one of the 3 great blades that were forged in old times. So that's where we kind of left off. Did I leave out any key details that need to be put on the table? hearing.
Um,
Oh yes.
I had set up when the court that we did with the Arbiter. I had set up a meeting with the Arbiter's new spy master at an unnamed time and place, which is part of why Tormund was very nervous that Dadushka was wandering around going, "Would you like to treason with some treason? Hey, everybody, let's treason over here!" So, yeah, there was that too.
It's like the trailer. If you've seen the trailer for The Great, where I don't know if you have, where they're doing the Peter the Great story, and Catherine the Great is trying to convince people to go on a coup, and everybody's saying, "Don't say that word. You can't say that word around here." So let's take up with Tormod. Where would you like to start? Would you like to start with the arrival of your new uh, attaché that's been assigned to you? Would you like to start with the meeting with the Arbiter Shadow, or would you like to start with something else? We said we would kind of come back to you and let you have first moves here tonight.
I mean, I have and had certainly other plans, but would be interested in knowing more about that Starfall sword. The little super trustworthy death god was just like, hey, I mean, whatever, it's cool.
He has told you that that sword lies in the middle of the Lost Island. It is the reason that place is so barren. Food for thought. And I
Well
will be
then,
more specific if that's something you wished. I will tell you the ways to find it when you reach the shores. I'll whisper that in your ears as well if you wish.
what a wonderful thought for a future encounter, but for now, perhaps just the knowledge of its mere existence in the world would be enough to light a fire of faith in my heart.
There you go. So he tells you that. So what do you want to do?
Then I think I would like to meet the spy masters. Um, General, what is the game term for it?
Arbiter Shadow.
Arbiter Shadow.
Yeah, one of the agents. There will be that thing where one of your servants comes and says, "There's a messenger from the Arbiter who wishes to speak with you. There's a message for you."
Oh, yes. Send him in. I suppose I'll find time to fit him in here in between this paperwork.
And this messenger will be sent in. He looks like he has had a rough life. He almost looks like a troll under a bridge kind of guy, kind of bony arms. Hair is just a wispy crown around his head, and you can see where he's had teeth replaced with stone teeth at some point. And he comes in and he says, "Tormod, you're Tormod of Novgorod."
Yes.
Yes, yes. You wish to see me?
Yes. Please have a seat.
Oh, thank you. And when he sits, like all of his joints pop, like you hear them, like a systemic crackle as he sits down. Oh,
I have to say I've never met quite as veteran a message carrier as you.
mm. Well, I have no message to bring to you, but I assume you have a message or a consultation that you wish to bring to me.
Yes, I mean, of course, just as a starting, I wanted to meet you face to face. I understood you were going to be close to the Arbiter's ear and important in his plans, and I like to make sure that I'm well connected with those sort of people.
Well, that is a good and honorable thing, especially for one from the north.
Oh, yes, and I wanted to make sure I got the chance to know you before. I mean, not that anything would, but I mean, such a precipitous fall for your predecessor. It was rather disheartening in such a stable new country.
Believe me, we are still seeking out where they went. And when we find out where they have taken what they took, there will be a reckoning at that point.
Oh, I'm sure as master of information, you'll have no trouble with any of that. I, however, have been having a small problem, and
Uh-huh.
I think maybe it is just part of not having grown up in these lands, but I have been on a bit of a personal project, to see all the interesting parts and all of the historical moments from the revolution itself. And I've been trying for near on a decade to get on to this one particular island, the Gone Island, or the Lost Island, I think it is in your language. The Lost Island.
The Lost Island. And why would you want to get to there?
Well, hold on just a second. I'm looking for where I split up notes. There we go. Well, I have to say, things up in the north, it's a hard land up in Novgorod. The cold, it brings with it many health maladies, and I had heard tell of legendary physicers that had fallen on the wrong side of things when everything went sideways, been lost on this island all that time, but I mean, it's been a decade. Does anyone even remember their hatred for a doctor who healed the wrong person? What does that even mean? Doctors are meant to heal everyone. Anyways, I thought it such a waste to leave them languishing there. I thought up in Novgorod, no one would really notice them gone.
Your optimism is astounding to me. I did not realize that was a character trait of the Novgorodi, to assume that these people would still be alive after 12 years on the island.
Well, as I said, I had started out the project when they'd only been there a short time, but the island does prove rather elusive. Just even if you don't believe they're there, just allowing me to fulfill this one bit of curiosity, this idea that's been eating at the back of my mind for over a decade, it would give me infinite relief.
Let us have you roll Find Common Ground.
Sure.
That is cunning.
All right. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yep, there's a move, and I have a character sheet. Who has stats? Cunning. Ooh, not great at that. All right. You. Yeah, all right, that's 10 plus 0 is 10.
On a hit, they'll do it if you meet their terms. On a 10 plus, they pick one. The Arbiter is sincere and honest in his desire to have a peaceful transition of power. He has only stayed in the office because he has been pressed into that, and that leaving at any point over the last several years would have opened a power vacuum. Yet there are some who are deeply suspicious of the Arbiter's intentions.
How terrible. He's done nothing but build up this country, and people are suspicious of him?
I just put that out there so you know where I am coming from when I ask this next question. And because this is just between you and me at this point. Why the fuck do you want to go to that island?
I have many reasons. I wasn't lying. But
Tell me the full reason.
if you must know, I had unearthed some legends, old stories, probably not even true. Dubious information at best.
You are too smart to follow up on dubious information. But go on.
um, that a blade, a sword of some middling interest in your country's past.
Well, there's the rub of it, isn't it? All right. All right. I want you to remember that I have provided this to you, and I want you to remember that I have not said word of this to others. Is that agreeable?
I would appreciate both of those things.
I will have men waiting on the shore, wardens. They will have the paperwork to go over and retrieve people. You can take yourself and some people to go and do this, or you can send agents if you are wary of this. You'll be given access to move about the island. There aren't that many left alive on it at this point.
We will see what we will see.
Yeah.
I may find nothing. Who even knows? But I thank you. This has been a lovely start to a working relationship. I think you'll make it much longer in this job than what was her name again?
I don't even think we need to worry about her name, do you?
I don't ever, I assure you.
Yes, yes. I hope I last longer than your friend who's your new attaché as well.
I do look forward to building a new relationship with her.
I can only speculate. Well, click, 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 stands up. That pop as he stands up. I will be seeing you then.
Please, if you need a horse or a cart or some sort of very padded something for someone to carry you on, just let the stableman know.
Oh, no. I have a mule outside. It's all good.
That makes sense.
And he heads out. Let's come to. We had Dadushka sort of at the center of all these things. So I want to save Dadushka for the last in this go around. So let's come to Anika. Anika, you've had this conversation with Dadushka. Do you want to follow up from that, or do you have some things you want to be doing, or do you want to have a house move? Do we want to kind of move outwards?
I think I want to like take some time with the house moves for a second, because I have this task from the Arbiter. All right, the Arbiter wants me to supply either recruits or weapons, which is a thing that you think at least weapons I could build, I could make, right? I have these rune swords that are the what's the word I'm looking for? The pride of my house.
Right.
But at the moment I don't really have the resources to do that. So I'm feeling like I need to read the wind to see if there's some way I can get the resources, whether it's to, I mean, fictionally. Can I just tell you fictionally what I would like to sort of happen, and then we can talk like ideally what I want to do is find some ore and then turn that into rune swords for the
Yeah.
arbiter.
So we're essentially
Perhaps in the
looking for
forge.
a surplus of metal. That seems
Right.
easy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then to turn the metal then into weapons would do what? How would we do that?
I think given your house's things, I think that essentially what you're actually getting is surplus weapons, even though we're
Got it.
using the ore as the fiction.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
That works perfectly for
Yeah.
me.
But let's have you roll reach.
Yeah. So yeah, and oh yeah, dice. I'm just gonna grab some dice because they're here.
Absolutely.
If you're all right with that. Dice.
Excellent.
All right. And that is 9 plus house reach -1, so 8.
8. So your question is, how do you get surplus weapons, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that your house has been kind of is like watches is for the movement of raw materials, or stone, things like that, when those things are traded, because that's vital to your house. And some of your tradespeople have come back and said, we've seen some high quality ore in the hands of people in the central steppes, and we've managed to track it back. And it turns out that people have been doing small scale trading with the Perlin community, with those people, he says, question mark, who live on the edge of the burning crevasse. It seems that they have been able to mine from the deeps there and have been using that to purchase outside goods. But no one has yet gone and made a deal with them or seized it. So there is this bounty available there.
Sounds good.
Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yeah, I think that does feel like a fair answer. It makes a ton of sense. Now I just have to figure out how to get it from them.
Sure. Let me come. I'll keep going around. We'll do a move a piece, and you think about how you wanna do that.
Mm-hmm.
Ekaterina, treason has been whispered in your ear like a serpent. You didn't say no, and you did try to convince Tadushka that maybe treason wasn't the best thing. You didn't try very hard, but you did.
Yeah. I think Yekaterina is going to. I think she's going to snoop a little bit.
Ooh.
So I think she wants to think about what she's been told, and this option that has suddenly opened up in front of her, and I think she's going to try to spy a little bit on the Arbiter and what is happening, and if perhaps treason is the right and proper way to go about this.
So this seems like read the wind.
Yeah.
Because essentially using your agents and allies. I assume it's not just Ekaterina. She's calling upon her network.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Roll plus reach, which is 0. That is a 7.
That is a 7. So what is your question?
So my question is going to be, what is happening in Bharat Vichy fastness. You know?
Arbiter is working to get these electors into place to change things about, and people don't. People are picking up the picture in their particular area about what's going on, but you're looking at the broader picture. Like your people are trying to pick up what the bigger picture is.
Yeah.
And it very much seems that what the Arbiter is trying to do is to establish these electorates and establish them at all relatively equal power, so that none of them are dominant, so that none of them are at the mercy of their neighbors, and expending a lot of energy and resources to that end. And there are a lot of people who are against this, because a lot of people are having to give up things to balance that stuff out, and it definitely is a shakeup. The other thing is that he definitely also has people out hunting for the messenger who took off with this sword. He's not a superstitious man, but he's heard enough rumors about these three sorts of power. He has one of them, but the other two, he would like to know where they are. Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yes, that seems like a very fair answer. Yeah.
Okay. Dadushka.
Yep, me.
Yes.
The sad thing is, of course, Dadushka doesn't hear what Yekaterina has unearthed, which, honestly, at face value, is not a bad thing. I guess having electors is a pretty good thing, probably.
It does mean that your people, the teachers, will be but one among equals.
Yeah. Which, I don't particularly like, but I was hoping there was something nefarious behind all of that. It'd have been a hell of a lot easier to try and overthrow it. But there's not. I'm going to, when I was there at Tormund's place and I had my little vision,
Mm-hmm.
I saw dark and cold and awful, and I heard the whispery voice of "you're next, old man" sort of thing.
Yeah.
Can you remind me what
happened? Well, I think what happened was you failed the roll, and that was the voice of the little death god,
right?
Because you were trying to attune to the place that was under the auspices of the person that he has attached himself to.
Well, was it a fail? Because I got I think it was a mix, because I got I
think that might be true.
Because it was working with the constellations and I learned he was doing star stuff.
Right. But in terms of that, that was what the negative was definitely that force and that figure.
Gotcha. But I can kind of figure from that little death has something to do with Tormund.
Tormund is certainly working with powers that you're a little like surprised by.
Okay.
How does that sound as an answer?
That sounds good.
Powers.
Yeah, that works. Okay. I think I'm going to be doing a subterfuge roll.
Excellent. We haven't gotten that many subterfuge rolls.
I'm going to be trying to cause a scandal in the Arbiter's court.
Okay. So let's have you roll sleight.
Yes, let's do that. I have a 7.
You have a 7. So pick. So let's see here. So you want to cause a scandal,
Mm-hmm.
and then on 7-9, what do you want?
I'm going to raise the turmoil.
We are 2 away from the kingdom collapsing. Just to tell you that. That we're two dots of turmoil away from all out war and chaos consuming the land.
Oh, that sounds rather serious.
Yeah, just thought I'd put that out there. Tell me what I mean. Do you want me to give you a sense of the scandal, or what kind of thing do you want?
Ideally, what I want is that we're going to see these electors as, you know, the people that he's picking as either totally sycophantic, or I want some sort of stain on the electors he's looking toward.
Yeah, I think that's reasonably easy. That some of the more like high profile electors who are there calling on the court, that they are caught in a compromising position, apparently thinking themselves now above things, and there is some question about the arbiter's mistress, and some other things that go on, and within a few days, the stories that come out speak of orgies and the stuffing their faces with the goods of the land, and all of the decadence that was like the empire. They are like the empire of old, these people.
Nice.
And there are a set of them that everybody is now muttering about well, electors are fine, but the ones that have chosen, there's this bad judgment that cannot be chosen like this, and that will reach out through the land.
Good show.
Let's come back to Tormod.
I think Tormod would like to try and get a meeting with Dadushka.
I think if Dadushka wants it, that's not a problem.
I am certainly willing, my old friend.
Do you want to call him to your place, or do you want to go to him?
I'll go to him. Where would that be?
Probably Olknaya. The ancient city, Olegolnaya. Chegoganaya.
So there is some travel that you reach this city. It's in kind of an uproar because the city elector was essentially caught with his pants down in the arbiter's palace, and that's caused some humiliation here, and there's some back and forth power now going on within the city. But you'll go to the teachers probably have they used to have a greater presence here, but a lot of them have moved to new teacher land on the border with Andorra. But they still have fine old style columns and buildings and stone, Dadushka, tell me what is you have the chance to kind of set the stage for the meeting. So when Tormod is brought to you, what is the room like?
This is still where the great university, the main teaching place is, and now that we've opened it up to so many people coming from other lands, it has this. There is a buzz to it. It's unlike it was back with the Empire. It's very cosmopolitan in the sense that there are people from all over. You see all sorts of folks, and mixing with the teachers themselves who are in their very traditional outfits, or all these different pictures of land, different clothing of different lands and sort of thing. And it's, someone can take you very quickly to Dadushka, who has a deep into the university. You'll go down labyrinthian halls until you come to, it's Dadushka. It's probably a fairly messy, filled with scrolls and books, and it is both office and living space for him. And there are just all sorts of oddities and strangenesses from all across the our land, Zimlaya.
Dadushka, old friend.
Tormund, how good to see you. Pardon the mess, and I'll clear a seat away for you.
Yes, I don't know how cleaning staff could find their way down here and back out reliably.
Well, it's everything for its place, as they say.
So I have been thinking, the last time that we met, you were speaking of dreams that you had. And I have found myself beset by new visions, new desires.
Really?
They say out there that your family, that the teachers draw on knowledge older than the world itself.
Well, it is deep and old knowledge, yes.
Of magics and secrets and old strange things.
Certainly.
There's a thing I'm after. Something ancient. Something powerful. I think I may be able to find it on the Lost Island.
The Lost Island?
But I would need help. I've secured help in getting there, but understanding the things that I find there, how to use them, that's what I'm really lacking here.
What is it that you seek, old friend?
There is a legend in your land. 3 ancient blades of unknowable power.
Oh. Night, Desire, and Starfall.
Indeed. I have been studying the stars of this land for a while, and feel I may have found a way to their counterpart here in the land.
You found Starfall.
I have found rumors and whispers in a way onto a very deadly island.
What do you wish to do with this blade?
Well, finding it seems like enough of an impossible step. Not sure what one does with a world-shattering blade.
Well, I think if one thinks of it as a world-shattering blade, then the use is quite obvious.
See? Then it's perfect that I have you that knows more about it and the ways that it works. You wanted support for your dream. I want support for mine.
Very well, Lord. I will assist you however I can.
I'll spend my influence to sort of do the official move there.
Which is the ask for help?
Calling a debt.
Calling a debt.
Call in a debt.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get them to back you up.
Okay. Are we going to want to zoom in on that?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
wouldn't begrudge other people a chance to do something else high level.
Yeah. Let's continue the once around, and then we'll do the zoom in
Cool.
on that. Let us come back to the House of the Forgers, and what's your next step?
Yeah, so I think I want to try and seize that metal by force.
Okay.
And it's where I just realized this because I hadn't updated my mood since the beginning of the age, but my mood's actually at 3.
Oh yeah.
So
you might be flush with resources here in just a second.
I might be flush with resources here in a second. Yes.
Let's I imagine,
might not be. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah. And your family, I imagine that you do have the weapons of war, the armaments to take on a secured place.
Right. So I was thinking this would be less of a kind of military
Mm-hmm.
attack and more of a kind of call it hostile takeover.
Yeah, that seems fair.
I'm picturing sort of like sending our engineers, hey, we can help you out with this. It won't cost you that much. Just X%, and then like slowly over time, like they become more and more reliant on our help until we're basically in charge.
Absolutely. Let's have
Because
you
we're
roll grass.
shitty like that.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay, let's roll them. That is a 7 plus 2 is 9.
Okay. So choose 2 of those costs.
Okay, I mean, so here's the question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no way. If I choose, it's not completely yours yet. Do I get the resource?
Not until the change of seasons.
Not. So that was my question, right? Whether so no matter what, I'm not going to be flush. So I think I want it now, so I can do something with it. So there's a cost to my victory. I'm going to take a need, and I'm going to cause chaos and suffering and raise turmoil.
Okay. So we are at 9 out of 10 on turmoil. So I think that the need that you're going to end up having is, what's the right way to do this? See what I think that this is a kind of a bridge too far. Like, you've got 2 families battling in your house. You've got the work at the forge. Now you've got this other extended thing, and I think you're going to have a need for peace.
Okay, so that just removes my surplus of peace.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you had surplus. So yeah. What stability and luxury you had to kind of keep your house together, the balance that you had built starts to crumble. The good times are over within the household. It's not desperate yet, but it definitely brings that down. And these people are able to bring you high quality metal for you to turn into those blades that you have, and you can essentially create a surplus of weaponry there.
Fantastic.
Do you want to move it to the arbiters?
I would, yes.
Well, let's look at what the requirements are for logistics. Your mood is
3.
high. It's 3, so you don't normally have to worry about it. But because turmoil is so high, you do have to pick one of those things.
Tell me whose land it must pass through.
I think that it will pass through. Let me think here. Will be appropriate. I have a name. I can just crank. House Garana.
House Garana. Okay.
The
I remember them.
The artisans who have been
Yeah.
kind of biting at your heels back and forth these last generations.
Yep.
So we'll come back to that.
Where are their lands located?
Imagine that we've got that they have the lands just north of Perlin.
Okay, so not for now, but I just want to throw this out there so that it's not forgotten. I think what I would like to, if that could be on Anika's way to where she's trying to get, that would be fantastic.
Oh, absolutely,
I'd love
yeah.
to have her run through there.
Yeah. Whoops.
But yeah, so I'll make a note of that too. But I just wanted to get it out there because she has a cool thing that lets me do subterfuge afterwards. So
absolutely. Well, yeah, and it does actually make sense for the travel route there.
Yeah.
Let's come back to Ekaterina. Oops, I just did that.
Yeah. Well, I think that the next step for Ekaterina, with that sort of knowledge that she has, that this that at least the Arbiter does not seem to be doing anything openly malicious.
Not openly malicious.
Yeah. I think that she's going to try to help the project. She's going to be a good, upstanding citizen of Zemlya. So
I do like that. We're 9 sessions in, and we've got the family, the land's name. For those of you at home, we now have a name for the country. So, what is it that you want to bring to bring this project forward?
Well, I think that the project is this like transition to a council, right?
Yeah, it's a social change. The surpluses that are listed as ones that get bonuses are leadership, learning, morale, spies, culture, and we can, if there are other things, we can probably work with those. But that's the sort of they're mostly intangibles.
Okay. Well, I have a surplus in morale, and I think that Ekaterina has a lot of influence in Sneadosh, where she's been, where she had been assigned.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that she is probably returning to Sneadosh, with her envoy from Baradvishi fastness, and she is discussing this new council structure and this new equality that will be granted to Sneadosh and its representatives, which I'm sure is a great deal for them as a newer part of our good nation.
Yeah, so you're going to essentially you're transporting this surplus to Sneadosh, which means that we're going to trigger logistics.
Yes.
And I think your mood is still positive, which means that you only have to pick one choice from logistics given the current situation.
All right. I will say that The GM says whose lands it must travel through, and I will need their consent to travel unopposed.
Absolutely. Well, because you were coming up from north down to Sneadosh, it's House Garana.
All right.
Particularly because one of the reasons is that they have, since they've been made an electorate, they've put road wardens in place and established some taxation on the roads, and have because they're kind of a crossroads, made that a thing, which means moving through their area does require their approval.
Yes.
Let's come to Dudushka.
Well, I suppose I personally am going to be helping Tormund. And I think we know that one of the swords apparently is with the Arbiter, right?
One of the swords was the one that was in that massacre at Sneadosh and has been given to the Arbiter.
Mm-hmm.
One of the swords is in the hands of that messenger who fled, the Arbiter's messenger. And the other one apparently is in this island.
Okay.
That's what legend tells us.
That's what legend tells us.
If it's true or not, we haven't yet figured out.
Bloody hell.
What do you want to do?
I think what I want to do is I'm going to use the surplus.
Okay. To do what?
I am wanting to use my ancient writings to find out what these weapons do. What is the truth behind these weapons?
Okay.
I'll mark them off.
Let's take a break.
All right.
When we come back, I'll tell you the truth, and we'll move to that Zoom.
Cool.
All right.
So, all the old stories about gatherings and groups of people and things like that are always in threes. It is the rule of threes. All the old stories. There's the three brothers, the three siblings, three family members. All the old stories. And one of the old tales that has power, that follows through for fae, for spirits, for humans, is this idea that of the three, there's always a rogue, there's always a warrior, and there's always a weirdling. Oh, someone who uses spirits or magics or whatever. And those people work together, but then often they compete. And that's what these swords are. There is a blade for the rogue, there is a blade for the warrior, and there is a blade for the weirdling. And whoever has that blade, if they are the last one standing, that is who will rule the country. If there's more than one blade at play, then those blades have to fight. Starfall is the blade of the rogue. Night, possessed by the Arbiter, is the blade of the warrior. And somewhere out there is Desire, the blade of the weirdling.
Huh. I think I put down the scroll and look up. Yes. It is all coming together.
The desktop will be fully operational. All right. So shall we do the zoom in?
Sure.
So here are things. Ekaterina, it's essentially you get to choose whether you want to do a quick character or whether you think it would make sense that you'll be brought on by Dadushka.
I think it is probably within the realm of reason that Ekaterina herself is there.
Does that work for you, Tormod?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Anika?
So I like the idea that she's there.
Mhm.
I just am trying to figure out fictionally if it makes sense given the various different travels that she's doing.
Well, I assume that you have access to Dadushka's ritual, probably, which allows for that quick travel since you are one of his initiates.
Oh, so maybe that's what's happening here. That in this particular case, I'm going with Dadushka and traveling through that ritual. Then I'll go back and then have to travel on foot to my other or whatever horse.
Yeah,
I have a steed.
that would make sense. Tormod, when we go in to do this, when we do this, we do the tool up, the particular move there, which is under gear. So you get the outfit. We do the prepare and provision. You get what you have in terms of your house's stuff, but then you can also add to those assets a tag for each surplus that you have. So what are the assets that your people have?
Let's see. Good Lord. I'm sorry, my browser is being very slow. So I have Signs of the Exalted, which is inscribed jewelry as a outfit.
Okay.
Outriders as followers. Most of them are still there, and poison knives as hidden melee weapons.
So I assume you have the Outriders with you as a set of followers.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many tags do they have on them? 2?
2.
Okay. So that's their effective health. Do you want to do anything with your surpluses? They don't get spent. They just allow you to do additional things. Adding tag, gaining a new piece of gear with a tag, or getting multiple copies of a weapon, outfit, or transport.
Let's go with subtle for the outfit. They're jewels that turn away people's attention somehow.
Yeah.
And I think spiritual for the Outriders.
Okay.
Have an instinctive connection with the land and its spirits.
You've chosen the ones who have been most initiated into the rituals that you've taught. They're kind of your honor guard. What about for you, Dadushka?
I have my old practical, nondescripty sort of outfit on. And I suppose I probably will have one of my followers there just to kind of keep my crap.
What kind of followers are they? What kind of
They are
tags?
roguish artisans.
That's right. You have the singers.
That's right.
Are you? Do you want to add any tags onto things?
Yes, I want to add. Let me check real quick. Where are tags?
They don't have the example tags.
Okay.
Like under the things,
There's a gear tab that has a bunch
There
of
we
tags
go.
on
Yeah,
it.
it does have
There
it
we go.
under those things. I need to bold those terms to make it easier to pick them out.
I want to add to my outfit. Shit. Tough, I think. Yes,
That makes sense. That's armor.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just an outfit. Okay. What about for you, Ekaterina? What are you bringing with you on this journey?
Ekaterina is bringing with her so she is bringing with her her fine horses and her bow and practical gear, and also the spear of Boris Bloodtooth is with her as well, although it is probably like in a case or something.
That makes sense. Okay. And what about for you, Anika?
So, one of the cool things about the forgers is that I just have a lot of stuff before even doing this move. So
Yeah.
I have my basic kit,
Yeah.
which is a runic blade, which are the runic blades that I was talking about that my house makes, which has the tags melee, elegant, weird, and reliable. And I think the weirdness is particular to the blade, rather than being they all have the same sort of mass reduced weirdness.
Sure.
And I think I think Anika's blade is. Sorry, I'm just taking another look at what the tag means, because it lets you do something weird. Some of the old Lord of the Land clings to the weapon, causing a spooky effect specific to the weapon. So, I think the spooky effect is that it just when it's used in combat. No, that's boring. I think it whispers to the spirits.
Okay.
I think it whispers to the spirits. I'm not sure what it says. I'm not sure that Anika can hear it. Obviously this is something that was crafted by the forgers. It's not actually of the spirits, but I've been talking about how the forgers have been sort of dabbling in this Fey and spirit stuff, and I think that that's part of what this was sort of crafted as an attempt to communicate with the spirits somehow. And then I have sorry, so many tabs. I have a mount, which has the follower tag and the swift tag. It's a pony named Clop. And then I have an outfit. This is sort of the thing that I created. Right, the sort of the sign of my passage into adulthood as a member of the Forgers, and my family are tailors. So I created this sort of traveler's garb myself, and it has the tags practical, hardy, and reliable, because
Okay.
everything we make has reliable.
That is nice.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know that I want to. I don't know what else I would do.
Okay.
That's already a lot of stuff.
So it's a substantial group that arrives. The four of you, plus the mounted outriders of Tormod, plus Ekaterina on horseback, plus Anika on horseback, and you arrived. There were agents of the Shadow who were there awaiting you, and they had a large flat-bottom barge with poles on it, and they would tell you that they have the watch people who would normally be here have been given their leave, given their liberty for 3 days. You can go to the island if you wish, Master Tormod. And they'll load you up on it. It's a big lake. It's a long way across. It is mercifully a ways away from the church lands, though they still have some things here. I think one of the things you will see as you are poling the boat out to the island and sailing it out is you will see these enormous wooden buoys, essentially crafted wood that have chains and weights on the bottom of them that have been put up, and they have the various markers of the constellations and the spirits and things from the church. And they seem to be put out here in a regular circumference kind of around the island as you approach. And you will come up. You'll see it, of course, just because it's cinematic. It is misty. The fog hangs on here. It's cool, and it is late in the afternoon when your boat finally kind of pulls up onto this misty shore, and it's that sort of gravelly rock of the lake shore. That's sort of sand, sort of rock. As the group of you disembarks. The thing that will strike you is you've seen no lights on the way up here, but within at least the range of sight that you could see, you've seen no people, seen no structures, and you will disembark onto this island. Tormod, you were the leader of this expedition. How do you wish to proceed? What is it that you do to find your way?
So as my character playbook brings to gearing up is that I learn a ritual to bring into this.
Okay. So do you want to enact a ritual to find the exact location of this place?
I want to first start off like as we land. I want to enact a ritual to hide us, basically. The celestial rituals have to do with like seeing and vision, and so I want to take some of this mist and wrap it around our party to keep anyone outside from seeing or spying on us.
Absolutely. You will hide it from mortal sight. Let's go ahead and have you roll lore.
All right.
Would you like to ask for aid?
Yeah. I have a Tadushka there. Presumably fairly good at magic and shit.
Yeah, if you tell him what you're doing and you ask him to come along, the helper agrees and rolls an appropriate stat, which seems like lore is appropriate here.
Okay.
Oh, it'll be so. This is after I roll. If I don't do as well as I'd
Right.
like.
Oh,
you can
I'm
bump
sorry. I
me
thought
up
you already
categories.
rolled. Let's have you do that first.
Yeah.
No, I was just waiting on the stupid thing to load. Okay, you guys. Are you gonna stay there? Okay. That is 8 plus 3 is 11.
So you don't even need Dadushka's help. Your tutor, the Death God, has trained you well. So what are the two blessings that you want?
Magic does exactly what you desire, no more, no less.
Okay.
And you gain an insight into your tutor's current state.
I think your tutor is hungrily awaiting what will happen when these blades come out. It is licking its lips right now at the prospect. And then let's give you a bane. I think that you will lay down that mist and you will enact that. And you can tell that this place, it feels strong and it does kind of work against you. But the mist appears, and then it starts raining. The sky kind of opens up here, and making it harder to see, and the landscape more muddy and wet on your travels.
So, like, as that storm starts to gather and it, like, the first drops of it start to fall, several of those drops actually fall on some of the gems embedded into Tormund's outfit that always have, like, the carvings of Novgorod on them. They crack and shatter and fall to dust as I will spend one trust to suffer no bane when I cast a ritual.
Okay. So that those storm clouds will part away from you.
The power of Novgorod compels you.
And the four of you can move on. Tell me, Katharina, what do you picture as your role in this journey across this enormous island here?
He is probably, outriding, like going a little bit ahead, making sure that no one else is there and that the path is clear.
You will come upon this is kind of scrub and overgrown, some trees that kind of block the line of sight, but not too much. It's still very the island itself has vegetation, but still feels kind of dead. And you will come upon what looks like a set of huts and buildings, kind of rough there, and you will see that there are figures seated on the front porches and standing by the well, and over by where we would have like a place to sit and rest, and none of them are moving. Here in the dusk, as you're staying there, you will see that. What would you do?
Katerina would I think she would pull her horse to a stop, and she would watch them for a moment to see if it is some sort of ambush or if it's to see like the true nature of what is happening.
They don't move, and eventually you kind of sit and shift, and you will realize, now kind of move down, get that last sort of rays of light, you realize that these are just someone has very carefully set up desiccated corpses, still dressed in rags, in positions like the day-to-day living.
Yeah, I think she sees this, and then she wheels back around to the rest of the group, and she goes, "Everyone, stay close together. Someone is definitely here."
And you will ride on past that. You'll probably see some other tableaus like that.
As we get close to these people,
Sure.
And we ride past them, ride to them.
Yeah. I assume you have to ride close to kind of follow what like overgrown trail there is here.
As I get to them and without touching them, am I hearing the whispers and the indistinct sounds of the spirits around them?
No, not the spirits.
No sound at all. All right. I was going to see if I could talk to ghosties here, but I guess not.
Oh, well, there's a difference. There are spirits of the land, and there are ghosts. If you're asking about ghosts, yes. They're the souls of 1,200 people who died in horror and misery out here, hungry for the blood and souls of the living and waiting for nightfall.
Then I think I will do a flesh wound to hear them more clearly, and to what is it that drives you?
We are hungry. We were hungry before, and we remain hungry. And you will give us what you want. What we want, we will come for you. When that last ray sets, we will be upon you.
Ooh. What would satisfy you besides our blood?
Would you like to find common ground with these ghosts?
Sure. Yes, I would. Let's see. Find common ground. That's going to be with cunning. All right.
Yeah.
And I am more cunning than I used to be. All right. I have a 9.
You have a 9. So They want your horses? I think that'll be both the things, because that's a couple of asks there.
I mean, Klopp's not going to want to go. I can tell you that right now. Klopp is not going to want to. I could try to get him to, but, you know.
They will kill these horses.
Well, they'd have to catch him first is what I'm saying, and he's not going to want to go.
Yekaterina, I can't imagine you would desire the sacrifice any more than my friend here.
Ormud's already gestured to the Outriders to get off their horses.
They're like, okay, yes, sir.
I can attempt.
I'm actually going to X-card this.
Okay.
That seems fair. Absolutely. That seems fair.
Not comfortable with the horse sacrifice.
No, I'm absolutely fine with that. Then let me think what would be that. I think that they will say they will not let your full party pass. You can take a hand with you, but and you can give us the food you have in your packs, all of it, and we will let a hand pass, but no more. The others can wait on the shore, and we will leave them be. Every speck of food.
I tell you, my friends, if we do not, there will be hordes of these dead upon us. I can seek the land's help. This is a place where the land is not as forgiving as others.
We'll just have to make quick work of it then. I brought you as an interpreter for the land, and hopefully you can continue to garner its favor.
Yes. And I'll empty the packs and send my minstrel back.
Okay. They're not happy about it. But they will go. Your people at Katharina, they look at Dadushka and they're uncertain about this. Do you order them to go? What do you think of Katharina?
I think Ekaterina looks at Dadushka, and I think she says, if you say we stay back, then I will keep as many people as you want. I will defer to you, Dadushka.
I fear it shall just be us four.
You can have one more if Torma would like to bring one of his outriders.
I mean, it's obviously Tola's brother, right? That's the saddest choice.
Absolutely, yeah. Who doesn't know about how you left his sister in the underworld?
Sort of like waiting room to the underworld.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Ekaterina tells the rest of the riders to return to the boat and, ready themselves to leave when we return.
And we will see you head on along these worn trails as it gets to night, though they don't like harass you. The pressure of these ghosts around is notable. You can feel them, and certainly Anika, your blade will vibrate as you are moving along through there.
Yeah, I like pick it up and hold it close to my ear to see if I can make sense of any of the whispers or.
As much as anything, it is making that vibration to hide the curses and screeching of these ghosts. They won't touch you, but they are certainly uh, not sparing their invectives, and the blade just kind of sets up a white noise against their rage.
This damn thing never tells me anything anyway, but put it back in its scabbard. But
I think that you may be kind of moving a little bit ahead, Anika, as you're kind of heading up this sort of mountainside, heading in the direction that have been told. And you will notice that sections of the hillside have very clearly been shaped, like runnels cut in it, and you can see maybe almost rocks put up to kind of form like little streams and things like that. And you will certainly get the sense here that someone has set up a very elaborate set of waterways on this sort of mountainside to serve as a barrier against the ghosts.
Mm-hmm. I think I sort of like, it's almost like a little like, as I sort of like, my eyes are sort of like jumping from one to the other sort of like, and when my brain makes the connection, it's like as like I'll speak, ooh, ah, take a look, and I start like explaining the engineering to the group, like, okay, you see what they did? We should get on the other side of that, because look, and it will keep the ghosts out, and it's so beautifully made and also so clever, and they understand how the spirits work and the ghosts, and who could have built such a thing? I need
Someone
to meet
alive,
them.
hopefully.
It's fascinating.
Somebody talkative, I hope. There's so much we could learn from them.
And once you pass through the edge of this and move in, that pressure will diminish. And after another perhaps 30 minutes of kind of climbing, you will see that the path continues on, but there is a cave, and some structures have been set up to kind of ward it against the elements. You can see out here in the open there is a kind of a cooking pit, and some older things like you guess rough hewn tools and things like that. What do you want to do, Tormod?
Seems fairly empty.
Do you want to go and approach?
Yeah, I mean, if we could find someone who's been here for a while, that would be the easiest way to find our way around.
Okay.
Could offer them, I don't know, passage off this terrible hellhole for their help.
Do you tell me what that looks like? I mean, you come up on this clearing edge of a kind of a cliff thing, and there's the cave, and the walkway continues up higher. Do you just walk up? Do you announce yourself?
Yeah, I think Tormund sort of stands up from where we've been crouching in that like fog that's been following us. And he steps out and steps forward with both hands sort of up and out, saying, "Hello? Is there anyone here that's not, already dead?"
And there will be a bit, you'll hear a bit of rustling and movement. And after a few minutes, you will see the curtained like windbreak open, and you will see this young woman in clothing that looks like it has been sewn and resewn and resewn again and patched. And she will look at you closely, and she picks up like a stone off the ground, and she flings it at you.
Rude.
Like that kind of thing. And when it bounces off of you, she'll go, "Oh."
Satisfied?
For the moment.
Hello, I'm Tormund of Novgorod. So you may not have, it's a very far, no, that's not important.
It's to the north. Yes, I know what a Novgorod is.
Yes, well, wonderful.
You can see, by judging by the look of her, she's definitely from Amestia, like clearly imperial blood from the empire. And she will say, why are you here?
Sightseeing? Curiosity. There aren't very many travel guides written about this particular island, and, well, someone native to the area, someone local, could help lead me around.
I would like you to please roll Find Common Ground. Help me get a sense of her reaction to the five of you.
Whoa, that's starting at a 6. Wonder what my cutting is.
I think it's about bad, right?
Oh, that's staying at a 6.
That is staying at a 6.
I have an idea how to help.
Oh,
I'd love
let's
some
hear
help.
it. Yes.
If you're interested. So I think Anika is like, this whole conversation, you could see that she's been kind of like behind you like a little bit, but like she just wants to say something. She's like, really, come on, like that and finally, like as that sort of like awkward silence where she's like just like waiting for you to actually say something helpful to her, Anika suddenly like bursts in and she's like, did you make the water barriers? Do you know about and she just starts like complimenting how she's got complimenting her setup and like asking her. Now, if she's not the crafts person, this might not be helpful, but I'm sort of assuming she or someone close to her is.
Let's see. I think I'll have you roll cunning.
Okay. How cunning am I? I'm kind of cunning.
Yeah, that's the stat for talking to people.
That is a 7. Natural 6 plus a 1.
Then she will look at you and she will say, good sir, who is very well dressed and speaks within an articulate way, and the young woman who seems somewhat scattershot. No, I did not make this. This was made by others. I have merely kept it up.
Wait a minute. Sorry. I have relevant background. I get to roll with advantage.
Okay, roll another die.
Sorry. I was like, ooh, these are cool moves.
I love how that's the last line of the move.
Yeah.
That turns into a natural an 11 plus 1.
You were going to say nat 20.
No. This is a natural 12. I was taking away the 1 and replacing it with the 6,
Sure.
so it's 11 plus 1.
She says, good sir, who speaks most articulately, and young woman, and others who have not been introduced. I am, as you can very plainly see, someone who was not born the day before this. So I would ask that you treat me with the courtesy of someone who is a peer, or at least is not a turnip, and tell me why you are here, and then I will help you, provided it is not murdering me or causing me harm in some way, shape, or form. You see where I would go with that.
That seems fair.
Oh, yes, certainly.
Yes, listen to the old man.
We come in no way for anything even remotely related to you in particular, or anyone on this island in particular.
Well, being that I'm the only one on this island, that makes sense.
There we are then. I come seeking to I come seeking to bind something ancient and of this land and powerful. And I came and plan to leave on a boat which has extra room.
Ah, you're here for the sword, I'm assuming.
I am here to find the sword.
All right. The other one came, but she could not get through the ghosts.
There was another.
Yes. That is why I am the only one left.
Because you could get through the ghosts.
No, because she killed the other living people on the island.
Ah.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
She pauses. She goes, that is a word for it.
How horrible.
It is a hike to the crevasse, to the underworld that you must walk down into. And it is dark. So I would ask you gentlemen if you would perhaps wait here this evening, camp, perhaps, and she goes, perhaps you have some food that you brought with you that you could spare, and I will be glad to lead you in the morning when the light is good.
About the food.
Ghost took our food.
Ghosts took all our food.
Turnips it is.
Ah,
and
delightful.
She will go, and essentially she will fetch a kind of a big stew pot that's clearly her week's rations that she set for herself, that she will put on a cooking fire. Anika, you will get a peek back kind of into the cave, and you can see that there are books and scrolls and handmade shelvings all back in there.
Yeah, I think I just like go and look at them. Like I no shyness. No, oh, there's there are books. Of course she wants to share her knowledge.
They all appear to be like handwritten notes and books and medical texts and other things, clearly the testimonies of the people held prisoner on the island, put on scattered bits of homemade paper and paper bribed from the guards and brought by other people. And it is a vault of these things. And she will say, just careful, some of the paper is very delicate, young woman.
Oh, of course. I've just, I was. This island is full of ghosts and there's obviously a special sword, and you just seem like someone who would know about the things that aren't on the surface of the world, that live underneath it or above it. And I just, I'm always looking to learn new things. I thought maybe.
Look through if you wish. All I know is what was given to me by the people who were here.
Yeah, so
I was a teen when I came here.
What were you sent here for?
I was the daughter of a criminal.
And you did nothing?
I'm not saying that, but I was the daughter of the criminal, and that is why I was sent here.
The Arbiter or the Emperor?
Nikolenko. She will dole out this food, this turnip food to you, and she will sit there. If she kind of stops talking after a bit, you get a sense that maybe she's talked out. Like this
I'm
is
going to try and engage her at least a little bit in. You say this woman came and killed everyone here. Who was this woman?
she had another sword, like the one in the hole.
And I'll kind of look at the other three, because that almost certainly is whatever messenger, right?
Yes.
And the messenger, is that the Falcon?
Yeah, the Arbiter's Falcon who stole the weapon and fled.
Huh. And I'll describe just to make sure to get that.
Yes. Unlike, and she kind of gestures at Katharina and Anika. Unlike them, I could tell she was a woman, but also didn't look like a woman. But yes.
What happened to her?
She left. She could not get through the ghosts, and I wasn't going to help her after she had butchered my family.
Tormund, all of you, I am of the opinion that our arbiter did not send the Falcon with this sword. In fact, I think he seeks her.
Yes, she stole his sword and ran away.
Not his sword.
I'd ask him. He rather thinks she did.
Yeah. But that means either she is completely a free agent, or there is something or someone else at play here that we do not recognize yet.
As I understand, she fell on some rather hard times, so may have just been acting out of desperation.
I'll give you a rather hard look. Like, are you? Really, Tormund? Is that your deepest analysis of the situation?
I don't know where she found it or why she took it. I might have some more knowledge as to the unfortunate circumstances of her fall, but nothing related to a sword.
And I suppose I'll grow quiet and contemplative of that.
The night will pass. Up here, you don't hear the howling of the ghosts, just the wind. And in the morning, after a tremendously uncomfortable sleep, you will get up. I assume Anika we find her, still asleep with books in her hand, right? And this woman will clap her hands together and go, all right, well, it's a hike up the hills. And she grabs a walking stick and sets out in a very determined manner. Sets a fast pace that I imagine Ekaterina is probably the best of you to keep up. And then the others are kind of following along. And there are some places where you have to kind of stop and kind of help each other clamber up until you get to this almost like mountaintop that's on the island. You can see quite a distance around. You will see that there is this sort of sulfurous smell coming out of this crevasse, this hole that goes down into the mountain. And she says, I believe the sword is down there.
Believe?
That is what I was made to understand.
Have you seen the woman? Heard her?
The which woman? Oh no, the woman who came here left. No, this is a different sword. This is the sword that she sought she didn't get.
Ah.
I was told that there's a little god down at the bottom, and he has the sword.
It's God.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of god?
I don't know.
Hello, God.
Oh,
We'll kind of echo and reverberate through there without an answer.
God doesn't hear very well, apparently.
I will take a moment to sort of like pull Dadushka to the side and have a brief conversation with him. Say, look, before we go down there, I should probably tell you exactly what I wanted. Look, there's a certain god native to your land. I won't say his name, but rather unpleasant fellow. Apparently one of the only ones that survived whatever happened to all of your gods, and is one of the only ones running around and having free reign on the surface. Horrible, horrible fellow. Did I mention that? Just awful.
He spoke to me in your glade.
He what?
He spoke to me when I was visiting your glade.
Well, then you understand. He can't be allowed to run around like this free anywhere he wants to go. Starfall, I think, would have the power to bind him. He could be taken from this land, excised from your future.
I do not know if that is entirely the case.
Oh, we shan't until we try, but if there's some god down there holding it, I fear this may be more complicated than I had originally. Just, think on it. Figure out something, some appropriate ritual when we get to the bottom. It'll be fine.
Torment, would you wish to be rid of this god that plagues you?
When did I say that?
You haven't. I asked you the question.
No, I want to bind him. I want to package him up in a neat little bow and send him home as the greatest treasure this land has ever produced.
So much. My dear friend, that is very foolish.
Is it? Is it foolish to try and rid your land of a demon that plagues it? I think this is what your family would want.
Binding a god of death is foolish.
I think God's a bit of a stretch. A powerful spirit, at least.
We shall see what we shall see.
Katharina, you are the strongest, most physically fit of them. I think that you are the one to overcome the threat that is the five of you clambering down on ropes into this sulfurous cavern.
Okay.
So let's have you roll disarm.
Indeed. That is an 8.
That is an 8. So you get to choose one.
It is only temporary safety, and the danger will soon return.
Yeah. You can tell that you've come down, and it is going to be as bad a climb back up. That is going to be painful, and that now the rope is kind of slick, and it may be even more difficult. And given your party, it may be odd. And you will come down to this cavern. There is a the very little bit of the light comes down straight from above, and it kind of hits a black pool of water. And you will see that seated by it on one side is a skeleton in rags, kind of seated there. And as you kind of set your feet down on here, you will see this enormous, obsidian black thing with a snout kind of lean forward from the other end, and it looks for all the world like the old drawings of trolls who live under the bridges and so on. And it kind of leans forward so that you can see it. It blinks these great big goat eyes at you. And it looks. Anik is probably the one who's probably peering the most closely at it. And he will say, oh, well met.
Well met, friend goat.
No. My name is Rabaski.
Rabaski. Well met, friend Rabaski.
There we are.
Oh, Rabaski, are you the little god that we have heard of?
I am a god, but I am not a little god. I resent the implication that you have just made.
A little god is greater than the biggest man.
Well, that is most true, but it is still a diminutive, and I do not appreciate it.
A larger god I have never seen.
Well, good. But I can smell the other ones on you, so you have seen other gods. So I will take your word as true.
Mm. If you're a god, why are you down here?
Well, this is my underworld. You pass through. You are now on the other side.
So what do you do down here? What's it like being a god? I've never met a god before, even if they have.
It is intensely boring. Someday the stars will align and we will return, or we will fade away. The others sit in their courts of the dead. I still am alive, and I am here. Sometimes I wander down a little further, look into the underworld, down into the pitch and the black, but I kind of sit up here more often.
Well, doesn't sound like it's worth much being a god then.
I resent that. I am still a god. I have infinite patience of a sort.
Well,
plus there aren't many of my people left.
So the gods are people.
No,
did you know this?
No, that is not what I meant. You misapprehend my statement, little one. My people are the trolls.
The trolls are gods?
No.
Dadushka, did you know that trolls are gods?
No. Again, perhaps you would slow down in your thinking. Your wits are perhaps faster than your mouth. Or the other way, I do not know. In any case, no, I am the god of trolls.
Oh, you probably did know that, Dadushka, didn't you?
Yes. It is true that your people are diminished in the world, but they are not unknown.
I know myths, stories, things like that, a few hidden away on mountaintops.
Great Lord, I am sorry that you find yourself so confined. I would hope that a new time will come where you and your people may be reunited.
Well, that is very nice of you to say.
We, however, have come for something we hear is in your charge.
Ah, we come to the nub of it.
Yes.
Indeed, great one.
A blade? An ancient blade.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
A powerful one.
Mm-hmm.
Fallen from the stars themselves?
Say the name.
Starfall.
Do you call it forward? You wish me to give it to you?
If you would give it freely, then yes.
There are costs for everything. I want you to know that the blade is in the underworld for a reason. When the blades come forth, things change.
You know, I think things could change going forward. You, a god of this limited underworld, have you ever thought of expanding?
No.
There's so many other places to be, so many other things to be.
I
Never dreamed of anything larger?
I don't think you understand how gods are. I am what I am.
Just
There
saying,
are
what if there
new
were
gods who think and have desires and wishes and purposes and plots and plans and stratagems. You may have met them. Old gods, we are what we are. You have asked for Starfall. I have told you one of the costs of it. Do you acknowledge that that is a thing that you are willing to pay? That taking it out into the world will bring a great change?
That is what I'm hoping for. So yes.
The other cost. And when he claps, that kind of like echoes through here. One of you must stay and talk with me.
For how long?
For how long?
He points across to the skeleton.
Well, I'll stay and talk with you. I feel like I could learn a lot from a god, and maybe, it's a long time. It's a long time. But you're a god. What's time? We can figure it out.
There's always the possibility that you will trick me and win your freedom. That is how these things work often.
People usually send me away after a little while. Tadushka is quite frankly the most patient teacher I've ever had. But you could, in all honesty, and she sort of like, you see her like realizing the gravity of the situation. She's like, I've never had the opportunity to study at the feet of a god before.
I've never had anyone volunteer. Usually they push someone forward. I had thought that one in the back cowering by the rope might be the one that you would sacrifice.
That.
In all honesty, I think this is what Anika would do. I don't think there's any
absolutely.
question in my mind.
Anika,
So I'm not.
Are you sure?
He might just be a little god and a god of trolls, but the trolls know a lot about their world and the thing and just we're in one of the places below. This is what I've wanted to learn about as long as it's what I came to you for.
If you want, maybe we'll walk down further into the underworld. Take a look around there.
Sure. Whatever you want to show me. I'm excited.
Anika, please, to be clear, you do not need to be the one to pay this.
The need, I think, regardless of what you get for it, it's something I need to do.
Happy coincidences are happy.
I didn't come here to get a sword, Tormod. This is what I came here for. To talk to a god.
I'll move up close and kind of take your hands, or right up around your forearm, and Babushka, I will not forget you. I will come and I will check on you.
Oh, well, thank you. And maybe someday I'll soon, or not so soon, we'll sit together and I can tell you what I've learned.
Yeah. And I'll look over to this troll god. And you will take care of her.
No, yes.
Then, my dear girl, it's probably more likely that you will find me further down than up when next we meet.
But we'll meet. I don't doubt it.
So we have a bargain?
It would appear we have a bargain.
He will reach behind him and draws out, like he's pulling it out of the rock itself, this sword. And it looks very much to Dushka like that sword that you saw before. Not extraordinary, just potent. Doesn't look like a tremendously unusual sword. Do I give it to who should I hand it to?
To me.
He looks at Katerina, Dudushka, and the others.
Katerina, I think Katerina steps out with like a cloth, like a blanket to wrap it in.
Well, I have a second person who seems to say that I should hand the sword to them.
Don't think we need to be afraid of this blade, Ekaterina. What is a blade for except to be used?
Used for what, Tormund? We are all friends.
Used for something more productive than blind killing. Magic fell from the sky and your land turned it into a sharp stick to poke people with? Surely something more productive.
Do you intend to beat it into plowshares in Novigrad, Tormund?
I intend to use it to try and remove a curse from your land.
Ekaterina, there is another that walks this land, as well as one by the Arbiter's side. The three will come together regardless.
She looks at Tormund, and she goes, I do not trust the man, but if you insist. And she steps back.
Tormod, he will hand you the sword.
Take it with a self-satisfied smile.
And I think when you take it, I think you'll see exactly how easy it would be to take over here. To you see the steps that you would have to take to sit on the throne of this country, and from there, the throne of Novgorod.
Oh, I never thought of it like that. It's so straightforward.
And I think we will cut to the climbing, and seeing the four of you heading back up. And Grabowski says, "What shall we talk about first?"
So, oh my God, there's so many questions. So, so how does it work? Like, you're a god, and I guess the trolls used to be your people?
Yes. Let me start with the creation of the universe.
Oh, please.
And I think that's where we'll cut from that scene. We'll zoom back out. I'd like to start with the horse clans and with the Katharina's family for possible moves, because you got a little less screen time, I think, in that whole exchange there, and then we'll come to the forge and work it that way. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
So when we come back out after this, these events, you return back home. Things are still in play. Are you delivering that morale?
Am I delivering that morale? I think that yes. Yes.
All right. Then I think that that it's not going to be a problem for you to go and speak to Garana. They will take influence over you. Essentially, that kind of trade deals for you to move through.
Yeah.
If that seems fair, and you can deliver that to the project.
Indeed. I do deliver that to the project. Which does not account for much in the timeline. Because I think that Ekaterina would like to claim something by force, namely the third sword. I think she wants to locate and collect it.
Do you mean from the arbiter, or do you mean from tracking down the messenger?
I mean tracking down the messenger.
Okay. So let's go with pay your dues. We gave the project 1 progress, and you gain a favor. So you just note that.
Cool.
And so I get the sense you want to read the wind.
Yes, I think that is a accurate statement.
Then let's have you roll that with reach.
That is a 9.
That is a 9. So where is the messenger is your question, right?
Yeah.
And she is, let me look at the map here. She is in the Kurgan.
I see. Yeah, I think Ekaterina is a very talented scout, from her past. I think that, with that and her network of spies and such, it is not difficult for her to determine that the messenger has fled to Kurgan Jibora. And I think that is where Ekaterina will go.
So shall we resolve that as a fiercely assault?
Sure.
Because the dual move here is wonky as F. And I've read through it a couple of times. But I like the idea that you arrive at this old place, these old ruins. Your people have set out a perimeter, and there will be that bit where we will hear the moving of boots, and you will see this somewhat ambiguous figure we've seen before in that cloak, and we will recognize Skudra. And she looks and she says, "You're not the one I expected to come."
No, I am not. I think Tormod has wetted his whistle elsewhere. He is happy. He does not need to hunt you down to be so.
What about the Mad Monk?
Well, I did not think he would be particularly welcome to the journey. It was a difficult one finding you.
Mm-hmm. And she will draw that blade very slowly.
Yeah. And I think Katarina takes the she has the spear of Boris Bloodtooth, and she has it in front of her, and she goes, I do not want to fight you. You are not the only one with a magical sword, all right? It is foolish for you to do this.
No, you are the impasse on my path. Everything leads now through you, and
Where
I
does it
must
go?
cut you down.
Well, do you know that?
Yes, I do.
Disappointing.
And she steps to the ready position. Let's have you roll fiercely assault.
All right. Oh dear. That is a 10.
That is a 10. This blade is fast. She is fast. She's more spry than you would expect for her age. She moves in quickly. She moves in with the efficiency of a butcher. But she's not a warrior against a one-on-one foe like this, not against someone who's trained. So tell me what happens. How is it that you dispatch her?
I think she comes in, and I think that Ekaterina has the spear of Boris Bloodtooth, and I think that she is very adept with it. She knocks away the blade with, the long, like, ash handle, and she takes control of it, of the fight, and I think that she doesn't have she doesn't win smoothly per se. She gets a little bit too close, and Ekaterina sort of loses the control for a moment when she closes the gap, and the spear is a little bit too long to actually use. But then I think Ekaterina manages to sort of bat her away with the spear until she is far enough away that Ekaterina has her at spear point.
And I think you have to run her through. You know that, and you do, and you will when that sword drops from her hand, it hits with a reverberating echo of fate cut and severed. Let's in the absence of Anika, what do we think happens with your house here?
So I
do?
want to bring Valdemar back for one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not as like a character. I'm not going to have him do any character moves, but as a representative of house of the Forgers. And I think this whole metals plan has been his brainchild, and like this is now the moment where he like shows up and gives a giant middle finger to the Garanas for what they did to him at the very beginning of this whole saga. So here's, I think, the play. We'll see how it goes.
I like it.
So, my whatever it's called, influence move or whatever, is where is it? Doctrine, whatever it's yeah. Once per age, we present another house with a beautiful work of craftsmanship. When you do, give them surplus morale or surplus luxury and get influence over them. And so that painting style that they developed and impressed the Arbiter with way back when I failed that first roll.
Yeah, session 2.
Yeah. So our sculptors have been examining it, and what we've done is we've taken what they do in 2 dimensions, built it out in 3 dimensions from multiple different media, and I think this was like the last. What's her name? What was her name? I have it written down. Tatiana.
Mm-hmm.
Tatiana's last great innovation, because she couldn't, even in a different medium, she couldn't make something that was completely derivative of other people's work. So what she did was, like, she introduced the new element that would transform the whole thing, and that was her sort of like last big innovation before she died. And so the first of these sort of like massive sculptures that is both a tribute to, an advancement on, and also we've just gone so far past you, Garana. Look at us now, has been delivered to them as sort of like a statement.
It is both surplus luxury and creates a need morale sort of at the same time.
That's the
for
idea.
them.
I don't think it like mechanically creates the need, but like it's sort of like, oh, like, yeah, they have defeated us in this war of the arts. So yeah, I think it's definitely surplus luxury, not morale.
Mhm.
And it gives us influence over them,
I like that. That seems absolutely fair.
which I would like them to spend to move this metal through their territory, this
Absolutely.
armor, these armaments through their territory, to get it to the I think Valdemar is like leading this, just like a quick, is like leading the caravan, and he's, you know, not he's aged a lot.
Right.
You know, he's a full 15-20 years younger than Dushka and looks about the same age and is not nearly as active. Right. It's been a rough decade. So, but he's like on the first cart of these carts as they hit the edge of Garana territory and show the paperwork. And what was her name? The leader of the Garanas.
Oh, I can't. That's been a ways.
Yeah, whatever her name was, right? Is like shows up, and like she's. I think this is also like she's not. Neither of them have the power they used to have. Right, time has passed, and she knows exactly what the message was, even if her bosses now don't. And so he's like she's the person who has to like rubber stamp this and move it through. And Valdemar gets his last laugh on Garana, who started the spiral.
And if you deliver weaponry to the Arbiter, you gain a favor, and for the first time, the Forgers will not have negative favor.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That is a sea change. Dedushka, the teachers. What is your last move here?
Well, first off, it sounds like Yekaterina is in full revolt. Is that accurate to say?
I think that is very accurate to say, yes.
Okay. And the teachers are, of course, following along with that because it's what I've been hoping for. And I want to spend my string on Novigrad to have them back this play. to be there assisting.
Describe the play you would like me to back.
Yekaterina dethroning the Arbiter and taking over.
I think I would resist that.
Let's have you roll hold together. What is your trust right now?
Trust or favor?
Well, you have trust, not favor, right?
I have both.
You have both. Oh, so what's your favor right now?
2.
Okay. So you're not rolling with disadvantage.
Oh, that's nice. This hold together is mood. Oh, that's unfortunate. The slow change helped me. So 8 minus 1 is still 7.
So on a hit, you remain okay. Pick one.
Hold on 1 second. Right, there's a... Oh, no, you need influence, which I do not have. Never mind.
But if you'd like to help out, I would give you influence over me.
Is that how that works? I don't
Nope,
think that's
you
how
have to
that
have
works.
have to
That's one of the
influence.
options on Hold Together is another house or faction came through to help you, and then I give you influence.
Well, yeah, sure.
So narratively, the forgers come and
You know, the forgers have just like busted their ass to get back in the favor of the Arbiter, and now you're telling me that's going to be nothing? No.
Depends on if you help us. You can have a whole bunch more. You help us.
I'm curious, does Stadushka reveal that Yekaterina has this sword? Does Stadushka even know? I'm not sure.
I'm thinking that when the revolt begins, Yekaterina, do you come and let me know? And
she would.
Yeah, this feels like a down the road from that moment sort of thing.
So do you have a move you want to resolve there before we go to epilogues?
I do have something I'm wanting to do, though.
Sure.
That's just sort of my spending my string. But I know that god of death, that there's really only one place that it could have gotten Tormund, could have encountered him, and that's in the underworld we went to. And so I'm going to go back and attempt to gain entrance. I will be trying to use my ritual to get the land to take me there.
Let's have you roll enact a ritual.
And I will use both of my held up dreamy bits to add +2, so that gives me a +5.
Whoa.
And that'll give me a 10.
All right. So pick 2 blessings.
Yes. Enact a ritual is on there. There we go. The magic does exactly what you desire, no more, no less.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to select 2 banes you can't choose. And it won't be the land's creatures avoid, attack, or watch or crave me. And it won't be it warps my body.
I think you will get down into the underworld. And I think when you get down into there, the land reveals to you that this is not where he met death. He met a trickster god who introduced him to death.
Do I find the girl he left behind?
Absolutely.
Then before I leave, I'll ask her for a lock of hair. because then once I leave, and I'm guessing we have this big meeting of the Blades. Is that to happen?
Well, that'll all be epilogue.
Okay. All right. Then rather than take her lock of hair, I am going to bring out my treasured thing, the words of power never spoken. I'm going to take her hand, and as I walk out, I'm bringing her out with me.
It's a fair trade.
What sacrifice do I have, Lowell?
I think that doing this, you're asking what sacrifice is made. I
Right,
think
yeah.
doing this will gain you favor for the spirits, but it does kind of take you off the table during this final conflict. But you've done what's right. Tormod, I'm going to give you one last move, or we can move to epilogues.
So I would like to family move, use my new move that I picked up here in the Changing of the Ages of the Grand Feast.
Okay.
As I'm throwing this like week-long festival of the Feasts of the Dead. It's very much this Novgorodi sort of like Viking feast hall, warriors hall sort of thing, toasting the warriors and brave souls that have passed on. But in the middle of it, like at midnight on the night in the middle of the week, there is out on a hill under the stars, this giant feast table just laden heaping with food upon food upon food, all of it there. And at the table, at the head of it is Tormod there, is the only person. No other guests, as he like draws a circle on the table's surface in chalk and does the like summoning, beseeching, reaching out to Kritamir to call him.
Let's have you roll plus nearby surpluses.
All right. I don't know what that is exactly.
What surpluses do you have there at your household?
Prestige, certainly.
Okay.
Peace, if we're in the middle of a festival, that seems
That
like
seems
it would fit
fair.
as well.
I'll give you that. Let's go with those two.
Six plus 2 is 8.
Tell me what the one thing you want is. I think I know.
Do you? The one thing I want is, as Kritamir, like he comes to the summoning, I point out this entire feast table that is all laid out for him. I ask him to sit and partake. And as he does, I will reach down to the ground, into the rock and the soil, and pull up this dark blade and say, you're lucky, little god. Just days ago, I had planned to use this to bind your power, rend your soul from this land, and send it somewhere far away. But I think I have a better idea. I think as he looks alarmed, he'll find that magic does not work here the way that he thinks it works here. It is the magic of another land, of Novgorod here. As I say, there's a fool who sits on this throne of this land, old and incompetent, and a young woman who knows nothing but the sword, who thinks she can take it. But you and I, little Death, I think we can work to find something better for this land. No, don't bother saying anything. I know you agree.
Oof. So I think we have to move to epilogues, but I don't know how to resolve that conflict in this situation? Do we leave it open-ended on that, or do you two want to negotiate? I think the two stakes there are the most important.
Well, we could have one final pitched battle to find out who takes it in the end, whether Tormod or Yekaterina seizes control.
I mean, it's definitely not the Arbiter.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the Arbiter. No.
Let me grab my bag that I have prepared for this since session 1. Hang on 1 second.
I'm sitting here in so much suspense right now,
I'm excited.
both in terms of what happens and what Lowell's about to reveal. Both of those things.
And of course, because it's a game, it has to be a Crown Royal bag.
Nice.
So I have a bag with tokens in it. And I have red and white tokens in that bag. So let's walk through the process of how this open battle works, shall we? Since we haven't seen this move. So let's go to that. Resources and battle. Pitched battle. When you meet another army in open warfare, first define what victory looks like for each party, bearing in mind the scale of forces involved. What is victory for you, Ekaterina?
Victory for Yekaterina is to chase the Novgorodi out and to have the land for the people who are from the land.
And what is victory for Tormod?
Victory for Tormod would definitely involve destroying Ekaterina, because he knows that anyone else with these swords is going to be a threat to him. So he's got to take the swords and show this land what a properly managed kingdom is like. This is just chaos and nonsense, and it's got to stop.
What are your needs, Tormod?
Oh, Lord. Transport, raw materials, and attunement. It's fine.
I think at least one of those counts as a need for your opponent, don't you?
Oh, yeah. If we're in warfare, transport seems like a bad thing to be wanting.
Okay. So I'm putting a white token in the bag. What are your needs?
My needs are crops. That is about it.
Do you think that's relevant for this battle? I think for a war it would make sense, but probably not for a battle.
Yeah, probably not for the, one pitched battle.
All right. What is your grasp, Novgorod?
1.
What is your grasp, Horse Clans?
2.
Make a statement, Tormod.
Gotcha. I think I've already shown that I will risk harm to my VIPs.
Okay.
I mean, not me, obviously, but all the other important people.
I'll put that in the bag. And if somebody could like put an X or an O by that to show that those have been chosen for people. What about you, Josh?
I risk giving up control of a location. Well, I think this battle is happening. Probably, I don't know where.
Like in the Central Steps, some of the places there or something? Or the capital?
Well, I think, yeah, I think I risk giving up control of, some of the land, where it borders Novgorod, where it...
Okay. put a token in the bag. So put a mark by that for you. Back to you, Patrick.
I am definitely under the influence of this sword, risking compromising my ethics.
Back to you, Ekaterina.
I risk losing a crucial resource.
What would you lose?
I could lose my mounts.
Okay. Tormod, back to you.
I think with the risk of compromising my ethics, I definitely risk losing the respect of my followers, since that was all built on the, superiority of Novgorod ethics.
Back to you, Ekaterina.
I fold.
Back to you, Tormod.
I also fold.
All right. So starting with the general that didn't fold, we take turns to either declare their retreat, bringing battle to the close after the opponent's next turn, or tap a nearby untapped surplus or character to draw a random token from the pot.
All right. I think it makes sense to start by tapping peace. Probably not a lot of peace going on right now.
I have drawn one of your tokens. If it's your tokens, pick one of your opponent's declared risks and say how you make it true.
What was the crucial resource again?
Horses.
Oh gosh.
Take control of the stables.
Yeah. I think it's the stables. It's that weakness of the crops food line. He can't keep up this entire army of horses.
Back to you, Josh. You can declare a retreat or tap a nearby untapped surplus or character.
I will tap. I'm going to tap my. Looking at my. Well, I'm going to tap my land, although I don't know what the fictional whatever that is.
Yeah, essentially you put that at risk there.
Yeah.
It's one of yours.
All right.
So pick one of your opponent's declared risks and say how you make it true.
Tormod loses the respect of his followers. I think that he demands a charge, into my line of cavalry, which is already ready and has a flank open to rush in. And his men are his side. His lieutenants recommend that he does not, but he orders the charge anyway, and he loses respect.
Jesse, tell me something about this battle. Here, between these rounds of draws, we check in with the players that aren't involved to give us a little vignette about the battle.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it's going on for a long time, right? Because the horses, if it takes that, if no matter how badly they needed food, it's not like a few hours or even a few days for them to run out of food for their horses. Excuse me. And so I think what we're seeing is a real battle of attrition. There's no direct confrontation, right? It's a lot of kind of harrying each other's camps and trying to slowly like advance to take the territory, but like they're not there's a lot of like maneuvering and not a lot of contact.
I like that. Tyler, give us another quick look at what's going on with the battle.
I think we see Yekaterina with her most personal horse guard around her, and they are looking to the distance. They know they have allies waiting out there, but no one's come yet. Where are the teachers? Where are the Serenochi, or whatever?
Sneedosh.
Sneedoshi. Why have they not come to engage? And I think we see here, as the battle is in its middle, this look for allies that have not come.
Patrick, we come back to you. Do you want to tap a surplus or character?
Yeah, I think with losing the respect of my followers, I'm drawing on prestige and the wealth of Novgorod to make those last few hold on through this.
I have drawn one of his tokens.
Why would you do that?
If it's their token, describe how your warriors regroup, fall back, or take shelter. And we put this then in front of Josh. So describe that to us.
Yeah, I have the people I have left. The horse lords have had to send a lot of their horses just out into the field, like let them go to find food somewhere else. And so I think I have the advantage on this cavalry charge. But it is shocking how adept they are at moving around and on horses, even when they're not their own. And so this charge gets scrambled. I think the horse lords steal some of my cavalry horses from me, and there's this we have to pull back from this pitched battle with them.
Josh, do you wish to tap?
I will, yes.
Surplus or a character?
I will tap. I will tap. So when you say tap a character, does
that means we're you have you.
Yeah.
And yeah. So it's this is you in the battle.
Okay. I will tap myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a red token.
All right.
So describe how your warriors regroup, fall back, or take shelter.
Yeah. So after, after winning this victory against Tormod's people in the battle, my horsemen retreat, and they find a safe place to shelter. With the spoils that they've stolen, I think.
Jesse, this has gone on for days. Tell us something else as this grinds on.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're starting to see, as this is that people are dying, and it's not from the blade, right?
Yeah, right.
It's exhaustion. It's some of them have gotten sick just because they're not infectious disease, but they've worn their bodies out.
Exhaustion, fatigue.
Yeah, and so they're people are asleep on their feet, asleep in the saddle, falling off their horses, and they're just losing people that way.
That's when the swords face each other. This is the cost that comes. Tyler, tell me something else about this battle.
No, Dadushka cannot involve himself in this battle, but maybe it's up to you if this is pulling a character in.
You just describe it. Yeah, this is you giving vignettes, so you can roll him in if you want.
No, it's not. It won't be him.
Okay.
Because I think as the battle has carried on and troops are now have been so far committed, both our generals. I think we've seen Yekaterina taking the fight herself into things, but I imagine Tormund's more of a commander from the rear. And as he looks around at several different points, he sees in the distance, or up on a cliff, or across the field, a young lady that he thought he'd never see again, that he left down in that pit.
Tormod, do you want to declare your retreat, or do you want to tap an untapped surplus or character?
I'm definitely not retreating. All I have left, though, is me. So I will tap me.
That is their token. Describe how your warriors regroup, fall back, or take shelter.
4 swords. So I think what this was this is the rogue blade, and I'm going against a superior force here. So I think this is like the middle of the night. Tormod has led a sort of sneak attack on what he believes is Yekaterina's like base camp with her and all the generals in it. And it's not until like you get the like sneaking up on camp, and you get like the knives silently cutting through the canvas of tents, and it's not until this like deadly flurry of blades sends up clouds of goose down that I find that like this whole camp is empty. It's been set up as a trap as the Yekaterina's people fall in, and we have to run for it.
And Josh, do you wish to retreat, or do you wish to tap an untapped surplus or character?
I will tap. May I tap? I will ask the young lady haunting Tormod from the ridge.
No, you have to tap a surplus or your own character to do this. If you want, if you run out of surplus or character tap, you can keep making draws, but you have to erase a surplus or deal a heavy wound to a character.
All right. I will tap again. I'm going to erase my land surplus. I'm going to say that the tramping of horses and men over the ground has made this land barren to some extent. So that is what I will
token
erase.
In the bag. It is red. Describe how your warriors regroup, fall back.
My warriors I think that they go ahead to meet Tormod's men on the field. And I think that Tormod has set up some defenses, some like rudimentary barricades before the lines, so that way the cavalry cannot really connect. And I think that when they see this, they have to wheel around and they retreat to find another place to try and attack.
It is a stalemate. There are 2 tokens in front of each of you. There is a way to break this tie. In the event of a tie, the player with the most risks is declared the winner. Tormod. A bloody butchering of the land. But you have the throne.
I think it makes sense, given how terribly my side did in our objectives in that war, that if you're okay with this, Josh, I got the blade, but Yekaterina got away. Because that was like the threat of the blade out there was what was eating at his mind.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I imagine we have the steps in the distance, regrouping. Someday they will throw off the yoke of Novgorod.
Yeah.
So I'm going to count that as both as your epilogues. I think that is so.
Fair.
What is the epilogue for the Forgers?
Yeah, so for the Forgers as a house, Valdemar has his sort of triumphant moment of regaining the favor of the Arbiter, or at least being neutrally favored by the Arbiter. And then, of
The
course,
next day.
the Arbiter is immediately unthroned. And I think that they didn't get involved on either side, which I imagine means that Novgorod, when it puts Zemlya under its boot, under the heel of the new Emperor Tormod, right? That's where we're at here, right? Is willing to sort of, we don't get it particularly bad. We don't get it particularly good. We're a small, insignificant house now, who has a very successful craft business once, once resources start to free up to be able to build them. I think Anika, just to give like a quick,
yeah, please.
I think that little peek of her we saw at the battle, she had really had a great time with the troll god, and made an arrangement with him where she would seek out he would teach her some of the secrets of his ways, and in return she would try to gather his people for him again, as she continue her sort of explorations and investigations. And so she sort of appeared under a bridge. She can travel
Travel between bridges. I love that.
from the shadows of bridges and to the underworld, right? And so she appears under a bridge near the battlefield and peeks to see what's happening with her old friend Tormod, and is pleased to see him defeat Yekaterina.
Oh yeah, given your dislike of Ekaterina.
Yeah, and then
it will not go well for the Sneadoshi now.
Yeah, and then I think every now and then she goes deep into the underworld to tell Dadushka of her travels. I'm assuming Dadushka is there and willing to listen.
Dadushka, what is the epilogue for the teachers and for Dadushka?
I think the teachers, having not made it to the battle in time to help, have to fall back to hide away. I think they go back to the stories, the minstrels, while the main body of the teachers have found space with the remnants of the horse lords in rebellion down south. I think the teachers are using their power of the land and their attunement provides a bulwark that it's just not worth trying to come conquer. It's just too hard to get to. We're off in that steppe land. Yeah. But Dadushka, I think we see the capital as Tormund's army is marching to take the throne. We have the Arbiter there kind of in just mad outrage, yelling at troops that no longer exist, making orders to defend walls that are already shattering. As someone steps out of the shadows behind him as he lifts up the sword, and we just hear the quiet slide of a knife between ribs, and a hand reach up and grab the hilt of that sword. And then we flash to the forest with Dadushka holding the third sword as he says, "The land will bide its time, but there will be time." And he lays down with the sword across his chest, and the land sort of grows over him.
Nice. Nice. That is our game. That is our game. Did not see where this was going to go tonight. Wow.
I
Holy
didn't
moly.
either.
Wow. I would like to do Stars and Wishes. I'd like to I want to actually stand up, walk downstairs, and walk back up. Let's take like a 2-3 minute break here, and then let's do that, and we can kind of give our afterthoughts on Free from the Yoke at that point.
Lordy, lordy, lordy.
Good suggestion on that open battle. I didn't even occur to me that we could do that. I was glad we got a chance to see that in action. There's some it's actually it's better than I thought it would be. Like when I read it, I was like, I'm not sure about this.
Better than duels.
But
Yeah.
Let's do Stars and Wishes. Let's start with stars, and then we'll talk about the game itself and some things. But let's start with the stars. Let's start with our two battle mavens. Patrick, stars.
everything. This was great. Stars to all of you for welcoming me in halfway through this, and I ended up sitting on the Iron Throne or whatever. So, like, how do you hate that? But no, I like the things people did on that trip to the island were cool, and then just watching people's personal machinations and how in this final one we really went from a group that had been working well in concert to just like fracturing into all these different looks at how things should go was really cool. And especially star to you, Lowell, for like I came in with a very clear concept of like, this is what I'm gonna do. It may explode horribly, but won't that be fun? I am definitely gonna do this plan. I'm gonna do this plan. I got the sword and I was like, but what if this other plan makes sense? So that the whole setup with the like the influence of the swords and the like path that it laid out in my mind was a really effective lure because it pulled me completely off of where I was going.
Oh, good. Awesome. Anything else you want to point to?
I am also glad we got to pull out that pitched battle move. It worked way better, or at least more clearly than duels did, and led to a wildly unexpected outcome.
Yeah.
For me at least.
Very cool. Josh, stars that you want to put on the table?
Yeah. Stars to Tyler and Jesse, you know, my two comrades from the first episode. It has been interesting seeing where things went, you know, saying goodbye to Valdemar. Yeah, it's been a journey, certainly, and it's been a good one. I've enjoyed the, you know, 8 episodes that I've been at. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Wow. Jesse.
Woo! I mean, this has been something. I want to just like in terms of character play, I want to give like just a. I mean, everyone was amazing. I've like picked up like I've mentioned different things about different players and different stars and which, but I want to especially Josh, the way you picked up Yukaterina in the second age, where like there was both this like very real like obviously the same character but like more mature, more like I felt that development that happened off screen and saw just so well. I was super impressed with that. And then like Lowell, the way, and this goes to some of what Patrick was saying too, but like just the way you would seed like small, this is throughout the whole run, that really like seed small interesting things that would set us off, right, in going in directions that we did not expect. When you first introduced that Fey bargain to Valdemar way back at the beginning, the introduction of the swords, the like things that were like interesting and evocative and powerful, but didn't push us in any particular direction to play off us. Like it was so just. You're always great at that, but I think the way this particular game, it was just like the real next level shit. I was like,
yeah, it's such a good technique for this game. Like, you know, you don't have to push the players; just have stuff. I think this game really sings for that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Tyler, stars.
I could play this forever. This is so right up my alley, and I could play. I could see this going at campaign length. It's just really got a nice feel for that. Stars, first off, Josh, I love that character. The way you played her as a noble. I think I mentioned the very first time we played that there was a nobility, it wasn't arrogance, it was almost like noblesse oblige detachment. And you carried it through, and as Jesse said, there was a neatness to the aging up. I thought that worked really well. It was just a beautifully well-played character, just brilliantly well played. Jesse, I thought that the distinction between those two characters was so stark and so well done.
Mm-hmm.
And Annika was so sweet and excited and so different than Valdemar's kind of schemy smarminess. There was such a distinctive difference between them while still pulling the flavor of what the Forgers were. That's really good role play. That was really nicely done. And your exit for her was, I mean, it was perfect. They say, leave them wanting more. You stepped out at just the right time. I mean, it nearly brought me to tears. Her moment, it was sweet and wonderful. Loved your epilogue for her. Just really nicely done. Patrick, you play a Tormund type. You play on occasion that's kind of that sneaky, obfuscating in tone type character, but it was neat to see how you reacted to temptations and how you adapted to things. And it was, I mean, you created a character that was petty and kind of power hungry, but then it became a strong character with great motivation, rather than what a lot of people would do that would be very thin and shallow. So that was very nicely done. Lowell, this was brilliant. There was so much cool shit. The NPCs did exactly what they were supposed to do. They spurred us on. They helped us along. They set the tone. I think as a start to the game, that map helps so much, and then you adding flavor into what we created, really, it just sang so well. It's a lovely game.
I want to say now, I you know me, I've run a lot of Legacy, and I really like Legacy. Like I think Legacy is great. It's a kind of scope and things I like. I like it. I love this. Like this streamlines in places where I felt the friction before. The playbooks feel right. It doesn't feel like there are playbooks that like drive the story like in a completely different direction or that's off from the other players. Everything feels very harmonious. And so I really like that. And I want to say, this has just been one of the most fun games to run. I really mean that. Like it has been a joy every session. I've come away energized. I love thinking about everybody's characters. I loved sort of the long arc of Dadushka and Tormod's back and forth, and that the shift that had to happen between the two ages. The great back and forth of the house, especially the Jesse, the character level stuff early on, and everybody leaning into everything. So good, everything's so good. And I want to second what everybody said, Josh, about the switch with the Katarina between the two ages. Like I felt that change. Like it was subtle, but it felt and it rang true. So good. Like really enjoyable. I know I have more to say, but that's where I'll say that. Let's talk about wishes, points of things we would like to have seen more of, or if this were to be run again, what would you want to see? How would you do things differently, or things you have questions about? Patrick.
I have no real wishes for gameplay other than a very serious repetition of the ubiquitous. Like I'd play another age of this. As far as mechanically, we've talked a good bit about like editing and there are several of those moves that feel like I would not be surprised if several of those moves were never play tested outside of the designer play testing with a group. Like they were never put in front of someone who didn't know this game to be like, can you interpret this for your group? Because that dual move is confusing as hell.
It's one of those places, especially that one, where I would love to see an example of play there. I think the book is written really tightly. We get some examples of play in the main Legacy book. We don't have them here, and I think just having that would help, because I literally we played that dual move, and I still don't know what it ought to look like.
But more concrete rough points, two things. One, for my house at least, and I won't speak to the other houses because I didn't see y'all set them up, but it very much felt like I had like dozens of storylines and little points of like resources and things that were out there on the map and little points to follow. Like my setup was just stacked with them, when I felt like maybe the map and the world could have used more factions or like opposing groups in it, rather than, and here's another place where you can find a box of gold, and here's another place where you can find a box of gold. But that may have just been my house. More generally, I felt like tying the Turning of the Ages to those projects, which with all those Doom and Progress boxes, like we saw how long one can grind on. The timing was just off there. Whether it's like fewer boxes or fewer requirements to get through a project, or not necessarily tying the age to the projects, one or the other. But it was just that there were several points where, even in my freshness of coming in partway through the game, where I was like, it feels like we should have turned the age by now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'll speak to that when I come around to my wishes, but I think that's absolutely fair. Josh, wishes that you would want to point to?
Yeah, I actually agree with you, Patrick. I think if I had to pick one thing, I think it would have been helpful to have had more factions at the beginning to interact with, like at least one NPC faction on a level other than the Arbiter.
Mm-hmm.
Both as something to push against, and as something to build relationships with,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like it was once we started interacting with the world, when I feel like I really hit my stride, and that was after we had set out in the Poslednia, and we had already, and we ran into an NPC sort of group and opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I were to start my own Legacy game at my own table, I would probably use another one of the playbooks and just generate maybe like halfway through and have them as a faction on the map or something,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's a really good idea. I think it would give a little more space to play, so you're not always directly interacting with the other players, and you can kind of go a little bit perpendicular. That makes sense. Jesse, wishes?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are really straightforward and just have to do with, like, I wish I'd understood the game better before I started playing it, which is, like, just not possible, right? Like, I really want to play another Age now that I kind of get what this game is a little bit, because I feel like I just, like, some of that dragging out at the beginning was because the box, like, there's too many boxes or like, some of the mechanical pieces, but some of it just, like, it took me a really long time to understand what I actually needed to do to progress those boxes. You know, and I think that like if I had a clearer sense of the sort of mechanical play loop,
Yeah.
right, which you would that is, I think it would have helped me a lot earlier. I think that would have just helped tighten up that age. Like this age was 2 sessions and we got 3 boxes out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we would have finished that. We had we been pushing to finish the age, we could have done it either possibly today if we'd really wanted to, instead of having the zoom in, or next session, right? Like I think that some of it was just like at the beginning we didn't really know how to do that. Some of it was also we were very successful in our roles today, so like it's a little bit of both on that account. But like the other thing sort of connected to that is there's like a lot of stuff on the faction, on the family like playbook, and most of it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like I had all of these moves I never touched. Some of it was, again, I think like a player skill piece where like there was stuff I could have used if I'd understood how to use it. I didn't tie my characters in tightly to the sort of crafter identity of the family. I didn't understand so well how to work on the family level versus the character level. But I think some of it is also just there's like a lot of stuff there that just doesn't matter. And I think that could be pared down. Like you have all of these like tradition, like the 3 different levels of like your government versus your this, like all of those things. I had like I had a power that I could use to like protect my people in villages. Well, maybe that's going to come up, maybe it's not, but there's like a lot of stuff like that. It's very situational.
Yeah, not just the moves, but there were a lot of other bits that are in the other sections of your characters can do this or they can do that.
Yeah, the moves themselves are great, and there's not a ton of moves. It's all the other stuff that I think is supposed to sort of give mechanical weight to sort of like flavor decisions or to fictional decisions, and they don't need. I think the fiction is fine. You don't need the mechanical weight really. Fiction is enough. You know, and then just to connect back to what Josh and Patrick were saying about the map and stuff, I think that like even just like more concretely tying players to the map, where like yes, partly because I didn't feel like the houses were super geographically situated or necessarily connected to the individual locations in a way that like that helped me understand why the land was, why specific places were important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I thought some of it was because my house I decided was going to be scattered and not have a particular location, but like, you know, I could say, well, the horse lords were kind of in the steppes, and the teachers sort of had their stronghold there, you know, but like the geography didn't feel real in a way that I think the map wants it to.
It that feels very much like an artifact from Legacy, where it's very much are you nomadic, are you dispersed, or do you have a settlement? And what happens, as you pointed out, when you get a lot of people doing dispersed or nomadic, you end up getting maps that don't have specificity to where things are. And I absolutely agree. And I think one of the things that I will do if I run this again with something like that is, even if people say, "Oh, we're scattered," well, I'll say, "What area of the map are you in? Let's establish some geography for you."
Yeah,
I think you're absolutely right.
I've always thought it was weird just with base legacies that there's never a question of like, and where is your front door?
Yeah.
But even more so with this game, which is all about like placement and tactics and dealing with each other in and out of places of power. Like, it feels like this game, you need to have a center place where people can be like, oh, that is your house there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Tyler?
I want to start off by echoing what we're saying right here. I think that it is important in this game that there is homeland space. I think that that gives you that tie to your people and to your land. And I think having delineated borders is important for that. I think it also then gives that, what have you got to, when you do logistics, who you got to move through, that makes that important.
Yeah.
It gives you ideas of, if I'm going to try and assault this place, then I'm going to have to move through this place. So I'm going to encounter them before I get there. I think they're, I like a board game, but I think there's an important board game aspect. If you got a map, there's a reason you got a map. So I do think that's important. And I think that's an integral part of what is needed for the game. I'll say, where we're talking about extra stuff, I'm not entirely sure it's important to have weapon tags and stuff tags, especially since you have duels, you have pitch battles, and you have the go and attack people. And I'm not sure when those tags are going to come around. Except
It's just for Zooms.
Yeah.
But like, I'm okay with a tag or 2 tags on a thing, but once you're getting 3 and 4 tags, that's.
I think it's overdone, and I don't think it's needed. I think the dual system might need just some work, something a little more definitive than kind of. I think I described on the podcast that it felt a little like what Love in the Time of Sod or whatever, where it's a little wibbly wobbly, and I don't know where it gets its meat, and maybe something meatier would be good. Let's see. I also wish, and this is for what happened here, because we hit to a satisfying conclusion. I'm glad we did this pitch battle, but I wish when I kind of blew my wad doing the word of power and bringing the girl out that had some effect on the big event at the end. It felt like it precluded my influence that had already been really established in bringing Yekaterina up to this battle. Meant I literally was not there when she needed me most.
Yeah, it would. I didn't have a sense, and in retrospect, what I should have done is said, and your thing puts a token in the back. I mean, that's an easy setup thing.
Well, and I'm curious. And this comes down to, like, in a pitch battle, do we have combined armies? I feel like it would have opportunities where you'd have multiple characters there for sure.
At the very least, like, every other field of play has some sort of like aid another move in it, and some way that you can affect the outcome that way.
I think what it is I think if you have multiple sides, you just do the same process. I think what are you risking? Because people can double up on those risks. It's not like if you take, I'm going to farm my VIPs, that the other person can't. So I think you could easily do that, and it would mean that having 2 people against 1 would be very difficult for that one person, which I think makes sense in the context of the game.
But I mean, I don't think we knew we were going to have a pitch battle.
We didn't know.
Till we got to
it's the first time we did it. First time we played it out.
So I kind of wish I'd have been able to be there to support the person I really had from session 1 pushed to be there. But that's just, that's a wish we didn't know was coming.
Yeah, if I'd known, if I'd known what the play was going to be like, I would have been able to do that. And it was an oversight.
But that said, I think having the battle there was extremely satisfying.
Yeah. I want to agree on play loop. And I think now that I've seen, because I didn't know what the play loop was, so I wasn't pushing on these things or re-emphasizing those things. So it did drag out at the beginning. Now that I've seen that, and I think you're right, 2-3 sessions, now they kind of got a feel. I think we could do an age in that, and I can be saying, well, this is the things that can be done. This is why you want to do them. This is that. I think that'll help for next time. That's really it. It is a game that it's like when you play a board game and the first time you play it, well, this is the game I'm going to lose, and now here's the real game. It's a little bit of that. Like when we got to the second age, I'm like, okay, now we know how it works. So yeah, definitely the timing is off on that. I think rituals are still a problem. I think they're still badly delineated, need more discussion, need more description, need more support. Because I've read through all the ritual rules, and while I think there's a really interesting idea with the enacting and things, the rituals for the houses, there's not enough there. It's sort of a half measure on that, and I think that's too bad. I agree 100% with what you say about locations and the map, especially once you're doing logistics and you're having to describe resources as dispersed or centralized, and what does that mean? There needs to be establishment of some homelands. So that's all thing. One other thing, here's a mistake that I made, and I mentioned it at the start, a rule that I just noticed tonight when I was looking through things. One of the things that bothered me was we have these arbiter agents, and they don't come in. I mean, they're an NPC, they don't come in. But in the game, one of the things you're supposed to be leaning into is going to the arbiter and asking the arbiter for things. And we had that a couple of times. But the other thing is being able to go and ask for an arbiter's agent to come and help you. And I don't know why you would necessarily do that. But one of the things they suggest, actually, that I will definitely keep in mind is when you go to a zoom in, you can play a quick character, or you can play the arbiter's agent, and you can bring them in on the situation. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And it's another one of those rules in here where it's just one little thing, very easy to miss in the scope of it. But I'll definitely keep that in mind, because it would definitely allow us to build up some more character and mythology for them and have them a more active role. Whew, I still love it.
Love it.
So good. Thank you all so much for sticking around way over time. I absolutely love this game. These 9 sessions have been just dynamite. Josh, so good to play with you. Jesse, I think we played together like once or twice before, maybe.
Yeah, but it was a while. I
It's a
played
long time ago.
like at least a year, maybe more.
Yeah. And Patrick, thank you for coming in and playing the pinch hitter and wow, knocking
So
it out
glad
of the
I
park.
got to play this.
Oh yeah. And Tyler, I'm so glad that you said, hey, we should play this, because this was rad, just absolutely rad. I'm gonna stop recording.